Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with podcast number 154. It's a great day for me. I don't know about you guys, but my son's getting married tomorrow, so we are getting prepared for a big old fat wedding, and everybody's excited. So we're going to get through these 5 questions that you guys sent in, try to have some answers. Unlike yesterday when we only have answers to 4 of the 5. Thanks for stumping me, whoever stumped me yesterday. So here we go. And remember, if you have a question, send it to support at bsffacademy.com. Question number 1. In one of the Daily Deals podcasts, Ryan offered to send a contract electronically. I'm wondering what service you're using. Did you find a semi-automatic way to setting it up for each seller? I set my contract up in DocuSign and it took me hours. I assume the same document can be sent over and over. Yeah, we use DocuSign. It probably took us hours too, but someone suggested it on the forum, which I think is cool. I don't know if you guys know about the forum, but it's under buysellfixflip.com under the forum button. But no, someone suggested it. We looked into it. Absolutely allows us to get the contracts back faster, which is when you're buying virtually really important. If you're buying face-to-face, who needs DocuSign? But yeah, DocuSign works great. Question number 2. I got a deal from a wholesaler. As his value was $145, his price was $95, more than 70% off as his value. How are we supposed to use our contract, specifically the part where we can list the property immediately? Well, I would have had the wholesaler use my contract if that's what I wanted him to do. But at this point, you're going to have to have an addendum signed to the original contract. That addendum is going to show you as the new buyer and include in that the paragraph that shows that you can list it on the multiple listing service and any other paragraphs that you think are important to the new agreement. Do not fall forward if the contract's not written specifically for you in the way you want it written. So that's my little piece of advice on that. Question number 3. What analysis is being done between the Alex and Ryan calls and who does it? One of the Ryans do it. They run a real fast CMA. So they're running this 7 data sets on it. And it's just to make sure that the number that the seller thinks their house is worth, that's reasonable. We're not trying to determine if it's accurate. We're just trying to see if it's reasonable. Then we have another person after we get the contract signed that actually tries to kill the contract based upon the information that they're going to gather that's in more extreme to what we've gathered so far. So our job, our check and balance is, now that we have it contracted, let's find out why we shouldn't buy it and then kill the deal.
Thanks for listening to Buy, Sell, Fix, Flip. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through Yellow Letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 4. What do you think of investors wrapping their vehicles with their logo and I Buy Houses info? Do you know how successful something like this would be? Very successful. I can remember 2 houses so far that I bought because my van says I buy houses 1-800-SELL-FOR-CASH, and highly successful. I get people ask me all the time, what's my license plate mean when it says for cash? And so I get to tell them, hey, I buy houses for a living. So I think you should do that if you have a vehicle. Now, I'm not going to wrap my Bentley. That would be too cute. And too is the big word there. It wouldn't be cute at all. But if you have a vehicle that's reasonable to wrap, absolutely. It costs about $2,500 to completely vinyl wrap something. And the nice thing about vinyl wrapping over completely wrapping over decals or vinyl lettering is if you were to pull the wrap off, everything's consistent underneath it, where if you pull the decals off, you'll notice that paint color has faded because the decals are going to show through. So wrapping, although it's $2,500, it's worth every penny of it. Question number 5. I remember you mentioning that you used to have a cold calling operation. What made you change to direct mail model as opposed to cold calling? When someone calls me and says, I want to sell a house, that's so much better from a prospect perspective than it is when we call and are looking for it. With that said, if we don't have the dollars to market, then we have to use sweat marketing and actually call people. And so the script is, hi, my name is Michael Quarles with iBuy Houses. We're looking for 3 and 4 bedroom homes in your neighborhood. We're just wondering, who do you know that's looking to sell? No one's looking to sell. Terrific. We can either go on with a continued script or say thank you and go on to the next one. We know when we talk to 100 people, one of those people are going to be interested in selling their house. Depending on your closing ratio, for me, it's 1 in 9. When I get 9 of those people, that I will actually get a contract. Some people, it's 1 in 90, so it's a big difference. So we know that it works, but if I'm going to spend the dollar on marketing, I'd rather have the prospect who calls me because I've solicited to them than me soliciting for them from a direct perspective. So direct mail works much better than cold calling. But cold calling works if you don't have money for direct mail. So you really have to look at it. And then sometimes I think we had 16 gals, and they were all halfway house people, so they were all, I guess, criminals of some sort, that were at that stage in their rehabilitation where they had to live in a community home setting, so they weren't in jail anymore. And they had to go and get a job during the day, but then they had to come back at night, kind of thing. And we found that, because cold calling is not the easiest thing in the world. And so you kind of have to have someone that really either wants to or needs to do it. And in this case, they needed to do it. And so the labor pool was pretty good because we always had someone to pick from because there was always people going through the process. And it was a way to help them reestablish their life and what have you. Some of them, fell forward and some of them fell backwards, unfortunately. But those are the people we hired. It was kind of, again, from an expense perspective, how do you want to spend your money and what kind of call do you want? So the direct marketing works better. But we're going to get into a period of time when we start seeing 50% or greater of our house pool has equity. So then 50% would be our prospect pool. When we start seeing that, then we can start opening up the avenues that we're going to use for marketing. So we can start going into TV. We can start utilizing some of the other things. I mean, the infomercial works great. And then the commercials created out of the infomercial works great. And you can see those commercials, some of them on in the forum over at buysellfixflip.com. So if you want to get a good laugh, they're like 10 years old. So that in itself should give you a good laugh because that's what 10 years ago looked like. But TV works great, but we can't do TV until we get to that point. Billboards, although a lot of investors use them, they're not something that I would do as the first step into doing the broad approach of marketing, because they're not motivational. They support our marketing. They don't create motivation, or they don't create that urgency or that instant call. They're just reinforcement tech marketing. Newspaper, we're not going to do that anymore because no one reads the newspaper. Online works great. Pay-per-click works great. Doesn't work as great in local markets because it's harder to find the person who actually clicks on your ad and then fills out a form from an abundance perspective. Where nationally it works really well. But we start doing some of the other stuff. We did, for the longest time, grocery store advertising in the markets that we wanted to buy in. So we did the grocery store dividers, when you go up to and check out at the grocery store as you put your groceries on the conveyor belt. Those little dividers that you see there, those things were really great. The nice thing about them is until they sell them again, they don't replace you. So if you go to a 6-month agreement, I think it was like $300 for 6 months per divider, per store. Until they sell it again, they leave you there. And sometimes they don't sell it for a year, so you could have extra exposure. Again, it's not going to cause someone to pick up the phone and call you, but it's going to reinforce them because you're supposed to be marketing to them on a regular basis from an instant gratification type of marketing. So the reinforcement works really well. So if they hear your name in your direct marketing, but then they also see your name, that's really going to embed in them a lot better than if you didn't do it. But we also did things like schools, and we gave pencils away at schools with our name and our phone number on it. It's, I buy houses with a phone number, because Kids don't get free pencils anymore, so teachers have to actually buy them. So teachers welcome the idea of someone supporting the school, and you can buy thousands of pencils pretty economically and get them in the hands of those kids. So why would pencils in the hands of the kids be important? Because they're taking the pencils home to mom and dad who help them with the homework. And again, it's a reinforcement thing. Besides that, it's good for the kids and it's good for the schools. So there's ways to market other than direct mail and cold calling. But yeah, cold calling works if you don't have any money to do something else. But so does network marketing, so does meet and greet, so does work in your center of influence, which is all those people that you know. So don't stop at just cold calling if you can't market normally. Do all those other things. Wear those polo shirts. Pass out those business cards. I tell you what, if you have 1,000 business cards and you give 1,000 business cards to someone that you don't know, not at one time, but individually, 1,000 of them, by the time you get done to the end of the box, you're going to have the house that you bought, because it's nearly impossible to give 1,000 business cards out in areas that you should be giving them out, whether you're standing in front of the Walmart in an area that you want to buy in front of, or a Home Depot, or whatever it is. Passing those things out or passing them to strangers or whatever you do to get them in someone else's hands. It's hard to give 1,000 of them away without having a great opportunity to buy a house. So, but most of us don't want to, put ourselves out like that. But, Bentleys are expensive. So if you want to drive a Bentley, you have to, that kind of stuff. Anyway, great question. Sorry, I was it's only been 10, 11 minutes, where yesterday it was like 41 minutes. But I have a lot on my mind. I'm going to really enjoy my son's wedding tomorrow, although it's been stressful for everybody. And if any of you parents out there that are listening, or any of you that have just maybe recently been married, you understand the stress of weddings, but also the fun of them as well. And it's good for everybody. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. It's Friday today. Oh, forgot to say something. 2 more seats still available although we have a lot of people emailing us, but we haven't had those people say, hey, here I am. I've signed up. And then I have a list of 52 houses that we are, and I hate saying it, but I can't buy them all. So we're offering them available to sell or to buy. So some of you will be getting an email if you want to know more about that program. Send support at bsffacademy.com an email. They will forward it to Gabriel, who is the guy that's in charge of getting rid of those contracts. And they're absolutely a good value, so really good value. So if there's something you want to look at, send us that email and we'll get you the list. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.